It's been enjoyable. It's not easy, you know, to coach your own sons, but I think at the same time, I think we both have grown as people. You know, I think, you know, it's a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity for me to have him be part of it, you know, and to see what I've been doing for the last 30 years was pretty cool. And you know, I think when we look back on it, it's going to be pretty special. When you're in it, in the moment, you know, you're coaching. I'm coaching him sometimes, and he doesn't want to listen, and I don't want to listen sometimes. And you know, after games or after practice or whatnot, and then you know, there's other times after you kind of calm down and have some dinner and think about the day and think about the game or whatnot. Then you can kind of have a better conversation about what went on, you know, when you get a chance to think about it. So, you know, we have spent a lot of time together in the last 4 years, and during the school day as well, right? So we're in school, we see each other in school, and then we have an opportunity in the fall to go to practice together. So, yeah, it's been enjoyable for me.
Down into a crowd, it's tipped, and it's caught! Graham White comes down with it! That's a highlight film right there for the coach's son.
Having my dad as coach is, it's been a challenge in a good way. He pushes me in practice and on and off the field to, you know, make me a better person and do the right thing. And football's taught me that there's no shortcuts in life. If you put everything you have into it, I mean, that's all you can ask from yourself.
It's been great coaching my son. I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity. And, you know, especially at the high school level, you know, I know that a lot of people are able to coach their children at, you know, the younger ages, but anyone that's played high school sports knows that there's just a little something special about representing your town, representing your school, and to have that opportunity, you know, to share those experiences with my son is something that, you know, not a lot of people get to do.
I think having my dad as a coach has been a really enlightening experience, I'd say. There's something special about coming home after the games on Fridays and sitting down in the living room, and your dad's already watching the film, and he's not watching the Patriots, he's watching the guys that you grew up with, he's watching the buddies you go to class with, and there's something special about learning from someone who knows what they're talking about and being able to not only get better as a player, but kind of bond over the shared experience we've had with football.
The greatest challenge of coaching my son is trying to separate the dad that, you know, wants your son to do everything, you know what I mean? And the coach that's been doing it for a while, knowing like, okay, you got to trust the process. Also the fact that, you know, knowing, you know, the fans, and as a coach, sometimes, you know, you hear a side of the game that you don't always want to hear. Even at home, you know, sometimes, you know, we have Monday morning quarterbacks that we live with, and it's like, you know what, like, it's hard, like, you know, that this is what it is. This is, and I try to explain this is why we do what we do. But again, to see it through that lens of a dad or a mom or a brother or a son does get a little bit difficult. When you're just coaching, sometimes there's that objectivity where when you're coaching your own son, it's, you know, it's a lot more personal.
I think it's hard because you're always thinking about, you know, separating him from, you know, just being another guy on the team, right? Another guy I'm coaching, to him being your son, and you know, you want the best for him to have success. But I think what he said is, you know, there are no shortcuts, right? So you really need to earn everything you have, right? You have to compete, and you have to earn it, and you have to work a little bit harder, because if your father's coaching, you know, guys are going to say, well, you're only playing because your father's coaching, right? So that's probably one of the things some kids are going to say at some point, right? But then you outgrow that, and you're like, well, that's fine. They can say that, but you know, this is what we do. You know, we play hard, we compete. Has it been a challenge? Yeah, at times it has. At times it's been really enjoyable, and like I said, when I look back on it, I think overall it's going to be a pretty amazing memory. Most dads don't get to coach their sons, right, after youth sports. So it's pretty special for us to be able to have that opportunity.
The biggest challenge for me, being a coach's son, is definitely, you know, having more eyes watching me. You know, coaches, teachers, and people outside the school. You know, I feel like, you know, there's a little more pressure on me to, you know, do the right thing. When kids have questions on the field, off the field, you know, at home, I get texts. from my buddies asking me, what time's practice, what color jerseys are we wearing, do we have film in weight room tomorrow? Do we have tomorrow off? Is it just green shorts? I get a ton of questions asked, and I go, I don't know. I know just as much as they do. I'm not really paying attention. So, the coaches have all the answers, but to be honest, when coach is talking and everyone's on one knee, so sometimes it goes through one ear and out the other.
Sometimes.
I think the toughest part of having your dad as a coach is no kid wants to let their dad down. So when your dad's there every day, there's no loafing in practice. There's no going 50% because he knows when you're going for 50%. He knows it more than anyone. He's grown up with you your whole life, so you have to go out there every day and give it your all, because even if nobody else is watching, he's watching, and you don't want to let him down. So you have to go out there every day and you have to give it your all.
You like to see him have success, and then and then be able to play for 4 years and not get hurt, not have something happen where you can't play anymore. Right? We're fortunate for him to be able to play for 4 years. And make it to the senior year and be able to play on Thanksgiving, right, is special. But you celebrate the successes, and you celebrate, and you kind of commiserate the losses, right? So we're just, we're kind of both pretty miserable when we lose, and we're both pretty happy when we win, and when we don't get it done, we don't get it done. And if you're part of the game and you make the play, a couple good plays during the game, and we're definitely proud of that. So it's proud times when those things happen, right? I think that Charriers were walking off the field and talking about senior night, and I said, you know what? Every year we do this, and even though our sons are playing, right, but every year we do this with our seniors. We have to say goodbye to them and their families. And, it's a tearful moment every time we do, with our guys at the banquet, with their parents who've been with us for 4 years and have been, most of them, on our side for 4 years. So that's a emotional time we go through every single year, and it's going to be a little bit more emotional this year. But yeah, we put a lot of work in. We put a lot of time into these kids, and certainly put our time into our own families. And it's a special time for sure.
It's bittersweet because you always wish you had that one more game or that one more year, and then having your son, it just amplifies it because that this is the end, and that football season, which is the first season, marks the beginning of the last. You know what I mean? So this is the last time I'll get to, coach him. I watched him play freshman games, I watched him play JV games, and now all of a sudden, come Fairhaven, it's done, it's over. And then it's going to be weird because in June, you're going to get that reality check of when he graduates that, high school is over and he's going on to that next step, in his life, and that, he's becoming, independent, which is great, but it's also bittersweet because, you're not going to always have him around.
What I'll remember most about this experience is, definitely the Super Bowl games and back in 2014, 2015, when I was a water boy with a couple of my best friends. Going up to Gillette Stadium on the bus with the team, it made me feel like, I was hanging out with, superstars, like NFL players. I thought some of those guys like Matt Craig and, Chris Martin were like, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. I thought they were the coolest guys ever, and I looked up to them a lot because it was something, that I looked forward to. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to be in this position, and I'm going to be able to wear the stripes and the Indian on my helmet and be able to play with my friends and celebrate when we win. So it's something I've always looked forward to since I was little.
Growing up as the son of a coach, I guess, you always dream of the day that it's going to be your turn to go out there and play in the green and white on Fridays. And I think not pressure I put on myself, almost more excitement and enthusiasm, waiting for this day, waiting for my turn. And here we are that many years later, and it's it's been a journey, and I think it's been a great time.
You know, it's more than just the games. It's more than just the wins and losses. It's, you know, he grew up with this group of friends. So like these seniors, we've known them since they were 4 years old, and they played baseball together and basketball together. You know, they've been over each other's houses. And, you know, the other thing too is that, you know, what makes this experience so special is that, you know, we'll always have these memories. So even, you know, 10 years from now or 20 years from now or 30 years from now, you know, when we're talking about maybe other things, you know, we'll also always have those football memories, you know, to bring up and say, you know what, you know, when he's talking about, Dad, you know, I have these 2 kids and they're not sleeping at night, and, you know, I mean, I'm like, well, remember how hard it was, you know, your senior year, and you're trying to do college applications, you're doing, you know, your AP work, and you're playing football, like, you got through it. You can get through this too. So we'll always have those types of, you know, memories and experiences that, unless you're in it, you don't always get.
I haven't really thought about what it's going to be like, you know, after he graduates or whatnot, or even on Thursday after the game. You know, I'm sure it'd be pretty emotional then. But, you know, what I'd like to see is we get a victory for all the guys and all the coaches, and then I think that'll just make the last game for us even more enjoyable. So I guess we'll have to reflect on it after it's over.